Every single day, you're being manipulated. Right now, someone could be pulling your emotional strings like a puppet master, and you might not even realize it. But today that changes. I'm going to show you 8 deadly manipulation tactics that people use to control your actions, your thoughts, and even your beliefs. And here's the kicker: we're going to crush these manipulative tricks using the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. By the end of this video, you'll be manipulation-proof. Ready to take back control? Let's dive in. Before we expose these manipulation tactics, you need to understand something crucial. These aren't just random tricks, they're calculated moves in a psychological chess game. The manipulators? They're counting on you being unaware. They're banking on your emotional reactions. But here's where Stoicism comes in. This ancient philosophy isn't just about keeping a straight face. It's about maintaining ironclad mental clarity even when someone's trying to cloud your judgment. What you're about to learn will change how you see every interaction. You'll spot manipulation attempts in your workplace, your relationships, and even in the media. More importantly, you'll learn how to neutralize them using Stoic principles that have stood the test of time for over 2,000 years. Number 1. Emotional blackmail. Imagine a master puppeteer, but instead of strings, they're pulling on your guilt, fear, and obligation. That's emotional blackmail. It starts subtly. A colleague sighing heavily when you can't stay late, a friend bringing up past favors when asking for something new, or someone using your own values against you. The manipulator creates a fog of negative emotions, making you feel responsible for their happiness or success. But here's what they don't want you to know. Emotional blackmail only works when you accept responsibility for others' emotions. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught us a powerful truth. We're only responsible for our own choices and reactions. Everything else, it's outside our control. When someone says, "If you really cared about me, you would," they're trying to bypass your rational judgment. They're attempting to create a false dichotomy where either you comply with their wishes or you're a bad person. This is where the Stoic principle of distinguishing between what's in our control and what isn't becomes your shield. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of examining our impressions before acting on them. When faced with emotional blackmail, pause and ask, is this person's emotional state truly my responsibility? Am I acting from reason or from manufactured guilt? The manipulation thrives on immediacy. They want you to react quickly, emotionally, without thinking it through. But Stoicism teaches us to create space between stimulus and response. Take a breath. Examine the situation objectively. Is their happiness truly dependent on your action, or are they attempting to outsource their emotional well-being to you? Here's your Stoic defense. When someone attempts emotional blackmail, mentally separate their emotions from your decisions. Acknowledge their feelings without accepting responsibility for them. Remember Epictetus's teaching, it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Practice responding with calm clarity. I understand you're disappointed, but I need to make decisions based on what's right, not on emotional pressure. This isn't being cold, it's being clear-headed and maintaining healthy boundaries. The key is to recognize that true relationships don't require emotional manipulation. If someone consistently uses your emotions against you, they're not respecting your autonomy. A Stoic approach helps you maintain compassion while standing firm in your principles. Remember, emotional blackmail often comes disguised as love or concern. The manipulator might say they're just worried about you or doing this for your own good. But true concern empowers. It doesn't seek to control through guilt or fear. Look for patterns. Does this person regularly use your emotions to control your behavior? Do they often present ultimatums disguised as choices? Understanding these patterns helps you spot emotional blackmail before it takes hold. The ultimate Stoic response to emotional blackmail is to remain unmoved by attempts to manipulate your emotions while still maintaining your humanity. You can be kind without being compliant, understanding without being manipulated. Number 2. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation at its most insidious. It's when someone systematically makes you question your own reality, memory, and sanity. They might deny events you clearly remember, twist your words, or tell you you're too sensitive when you react to their behavior. It's like being in a house where someone keeps secretly moving the furniture. Eventually, you start doubting your own perception. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in accordance with nature, with reality as it truly is. Gaslighting directly attacks this foundation by attempting to replace your reality with the manipulator's version. But here's where Stoic wisdom becomes your anchor. Focus on what you can observe and verify, not on what others tell you to believe. When someone gaslights you, they're trying to create a gap between your experience and your trust in that experience. They might say, "That never happened," when you clearly remember it did, or "You're imagining things," when you notice their harmful behavior. The Stoic response? Document everything. Keep a record of events, conversations, and interactions. Epictetus taught that we should examine our impressions carefully. This becomes crucial when dealing with gaslighting. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have for my memories and perceptions? Am I seeing things clearly, or am I letting someone else's version of reality override my own experience? The manipulator wants you to doubt yourself so much that you become dependent on their version of reality. They might mix truth with lies, admit to small things while denying bigger ones, or use your moments of uncertainty against you. But remember what Marcus Aurelius said about truth. It never harmed anyone. The truth remains the truth, regardless of who tries to deny it. Stoicism teaches us to trust our reasoned judgments while remaining open to correction when we're wrong. This balance is crucial when facing gaslighting. You can remain open to the possibility that you've misunderstood something while still trusting your basic perception of reality. Watch for the warning signs. Do you often feel confused after interactions with this person? Do you find yourself apologizing for things you don't remember doing wrong? Are you constantly second-guessing your memories or perceptions? These are red flags that gaslighting might be occurring. The Stoic practice of evening review becomes particularly valuable here. Take time each day to review events objectively. What actually happened? What was said? What evidence exists? This practice helps maintain your grip on reality when someone's trying to distort it. Remember, gaslighting often escalates gradually. It might start with small lies or denial of minor events, then progress to more significant reality distortions. The Stoic virtue of courage becomes essential. The courage to trust your perceptions even when someone's trying to undermine them. A key Stoic defense against gaslighting is to remain grounded in observable facts while practicing emotional resilience. You can acknowledge someone's different perspective without accepting their attempt to override your reality. Seek external validation when needed. While Stoicism emphasizes internal validation, there's wisdom in confirming your perceptions with trusted others when you're being gaslighted. This isn't weakness, it's practical wisdom. Build your reality on solid ground. Keep records, trust your observations, and remember that no one has the right to rewrite your experience of reality. Number 3. Love bombing. Love bombing is the psychological equivalent of a sugar rush, intense, overwhelming, and ultimately artificial. It's when someone showers you with excessive affection, attention, and praise, not out of genuine care, but as a way to lower your defenses and create unhealthy dependency. They'll compliment everything you do, text constantly, and make grand gestures that seem too good to be true, because they are. The Stoics understood that true virtue lies in moderation and authenticity. When someone's affection feels like a flood rather than a natural flow, your internal alarm bells should ring. As Seneca warned, too much of a good thing can be bad. Even positive attention, when excessive, can be a form of manipulation. Watch for the speed and intensity of their devotion. Are they declaring you their soulmate after just meeting? Planning a future together within days? Making promises that seem disproportionate to the length of your relationship? The Stoic principle of rational assessment becomes crucial here. Love bombing often comes with an underlying current of urgency. They'll push for quick commitment, trying to bypass your natural pace of building trust. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to look within. Within is the fountain of good. Trust your internal timing, not their rushed agenda. The manipulation lies in creating an artificial high that makes normal relationships seem dull by comparison. They're setting you up for future disappointment and manipulation by establishing an unsustainable level of attention and affection. A Stoic approach helps you see through this emotional sleight of hand. Pay attention to how they react when you set boundaries or need space. Love bombers often respond to reasonable limits with hurt, anger, or by withdrawing all that excessive attention, revealing the conditional nature of their love. As the Stoics knew, respects boundaries and natural progression. The danger of love bombing lies in its ability to override our rational judgment with a flood of positive emotions. But remember Epictetus's teaching: no man is free who is not master of himself. Maintain your self-governance, even when someone's trying to sweep you off your feet. Consider the sustainability of their behavior. Can anyone genuinely maintain that level of devotion indefinitely? The Stoic virtue of wisdom helps us distinguish between authentic connection and manipulative intensity. Real relationships develop naturally, like a garden growing, not like a fireworks display. Look for signs of reciprocity expectations. Love bombers often keep a mental ledger of their grand gestures, planning to cash in these love deposits later. This contradicts the Stoic ideal of giving without expectation of return. Practice emotional sobriety. When someone's showering you with attention, step back and ask, is this genuine connection developing, or am I being set up for future manipulation? Let reason be your guide, not the intoxication of excessive attention. Remember that true connection builds gradually through consistent, authentic interaction. As Zeno of Citium taught, happiness flows from living in accordance with nature, including the natural progression of human relationships. Your best defense is maintaining inner stability, regardless of external validation or attention. Don't let anyone's intense affection, genuine or manipulative, become the center of your emotional world. Number 4. Silent treatment. The silent treatment is manipulation through absence. A void created to punish, control, or extract compliance. It's when someone deliberately withdraws all communication, creating an emotional black hole that can feel more painful than direct conflict. They're betting that your discomfort with silence will make you bend to their will. But here's where Stoic wisdom becomes your fortress. The Stoics taught that we cannot control others' actions, only our response to them. When someone chooses silence as a weapon, you can choose not to be wounded by it. The manipulator uses silence to create anxiety, self-doubt, and a desperate need to fix whatever caused their withdrawal. They want you to fill the silence with apologies, concessions, or promises to change. But as Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This tactic often escalates gradually. It might start with delayed responses, progress to short, cold answers, and finally reach complete communication blackout. The Stoic practice of mindful observation helps you spot this pattern before it fully develops. The silent treatment works by exploiting our natural need for connection and closure. The manipulator knows that unanswered questions and unacknowledged feelings create psychological distress. But Stoicism teaches us to find peace in what we can control, our own actions and reactions. Watch for the pattern of selective silence. Are they silent only when they want something? Do they resurface when it benefits them? This inconsistency reveals the manipulative nature of their silence. As Marcus Aurelius advised, look at things as they are, not as they appear. The Stoic response to silent treatment is neither to chase nor to retaliate with silence. Instead, maintain your dignity and emotional equilibrium. Continue to communicate clearly and respectfully if needed, but don't let their silence dictate your emotional state. Remember that genuine communication involves both speaking and listening. When someone uses silence as punishment, they're not just withholding words, they're refusing to engage in authentic dialogue. The Stoic virtue of justice reminds us that this is neither fair nor constructive. Pay attention to how the silent treatment makes you feel. Do you become anxious, self-doubting, or desperate for reconciliation? These reactions are what the manipulator is counting on. But as Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Your worth and peace of mind Don't depend on another person's willingness to communicate. Practice emotional self-sufficiency, the Stoic ideal of finding contentment regardless of external circumstances. Consider whether the silence is truly manipulative or simply someone needing space. Genuine requests for time to process emotions are valid. The key is in the intent and pattern. Does their silence feel punitive? Is it used consistently to gain compliance? The ultimate Stoic defense against silent treatment is to find your voice within the silence. Use this time for self-reflection, strengthening your boundaries, and practicing emotional resilience. Number 5. Moving the goalposts. Moving the goalposts is manipulation through perpetual dissatisfaction. Just when you think you've met expectations, they change. It's like playing a game where the rules keep shifting, exhausting, demoralizing, and designed to keep you in a constant state of striving for approval that never comes. The Stoics emphasize the importance of having clear principles and living by them. When someone keeps moving the goalposts, they're trying to replace your internal standards with their ever-changing external demand. But, as Epictetus taught, true freedom comes from maintaining our own principles. This manipulation tactic thrives on the human desire for achievement and recognition. The manipulator knows that once you're invested in meeting their standards, you're likely to keep chasing even as those standards shift. But remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. Look within. Within is the fountain of good. Watch for the pattern. You achieve something they demanded, but instead of acknowledgement, you receive new, higher demands. Yes, you got the promotion, but why not department head? Sure, you cleaned the house, but why didn't you reorganize the garage too? Each accomplishment is minimized and immediately replaced with a new requirement. The manipulation lies in keeping you focused on external validation rather than internal satisfaction. They want you constantly off balance, always striving, never feeling quite good enough. The Stoic response? Focus on your own standards of excellence and virtue. Notice how they use comparison as a tool. Well, Sarah would have, or a real professional would. These moving comparisons are designed to create perpetual inadequacy. But Stoicism teaches us to compete only with our previous selves, not with others or impossible standards. The goalposts often move in subtle ways. Today's above and beyond becomes tomorrow's bare minimum. They might say, "I thought you'd want to do more," or "Is that really your best?" This gradual shift can make you doubt your own efforts and achievements. Practice recognizing when standards are legitimate versus manipulative. Real growth involves challenging yourself, but healthy challenges have clear, achievable goals. Moving goalposts, by contrast, are deliberately designed to be unreachable. Your Stoic defense begins with establishing and maintaining your own standards. What defines success for you? What are your values and principles? Let these be your guide rather than someone else's shifting expectations. Document your achievements and the changing demands. This creates a clear record of the pattern and helps you maintain perspective when they try to minimize your accomplishments or inflate their expectations. Remember that the goal of this manipulation is to keep you in a one-down position, always striving for approval that never comes. But as Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their approval is not necessary for your peace of mind. The ultimate Stoic response to moving goalposts is to stand firm in your own values while remaining open to genuine growth. Acknowledge your achievements, maintain your standards, and refuse to chase constantly shifting expectations. Number 6. False choices. False choices are manipulation through manufactured consent, presenting limited options that all serve the manipulator's agenda while creating the illusion of free choice. It's like being asked, "Would you prefer to be uncomfortable now or miserable later?" Both options serve their purpose, not yours. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes from seeing reality clearly. When someone presents you with false choices, they're trying to obscure better options that might exist. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and do what you have to do." Watch for the classic structure. Either you do X or Y will happen. The key is that both X and Y are undesirable outcomes that benefit the manipulator. They might say, either stay late at work or show everyone you're not a team player. This false dichotomy ignores other valid options. The manipulation works by creating artificial urgency and limiting your perceived choices. They want you to feel trapped between their options rather than exploring alternatives. But Stoicism teaches us to step back and examine situations objectively. Pay attention to the language they use. Phrases like, "you have no choice but to," or "the only way forward is," are red flags. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, there are always more options than what others present to us. The false choice often comes with implied threats or consequences. You can either agree now, or we can make this difficult. This pressure tactic relies on fear to prevent you from seeking alternatives. The Stoic response is to remain calm and question the premise. Look for hidden options they're trying to obscure. Are there really only two choices? What other possibilities exist? The Stoic virtue of wisdom includes seeing beyond artificial limitations to find true solutions. Notice how they might use time pressure to force quick decisions between their limited options. You need to decide right now, A or B. But as Seneca taught, hasty decisions often lead to regret. Take the time you need to consider all possibilities. Practice identifying the manipulator's true agenda. What do all their choices have in common? This reveals what they're really trying to achieve. Understanding their motivation helps you see beyond their false dichotomies. Remember that accepting their framework of limited choices gives away your power. The Stoic approach is to maintain your autonomy by questioning assumptions and seeking genuine alternatives. Your best defense is to remain grounded in reality, rather than accepting their artificial constraints. Ask yourself, what would this situation look like without their imposed limitations? What options am I not seeing? The ultimate Stoic response to false choices is to reclaim your agency. Create your own options, challenge artificial limitations, and make decisions based on reason rather than manipulation. Number 7. Triangulation. Triangulation is manipulation through indirect communication, bringing in third parties to avoid direct confrontation or to strengthen the manipulator's position. It's like playing telephone, but with deliberate distortions designed to create confusion, rivalry, or doubt. The Stoics valued direct, honest communication. When someone consistently brings others into what should be a direct interaction, they're creating unnecessary complexity and opportunities for manipulation. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. Watch for the pattern. Instead of addressing you directly, they relay messages through others. They might tell your colleague about their issues with your work rather than speaking to you, or share their complaints about you with mutual friends while maintaining a friendly facade to your face. The manipulation works by creating a network of indirect communication that the manipulator can control. They become the hub through which information flows, allowing them to shape narratives and pit people against each other. But Stoicism teaches us to seek truth directly. Notice how they use third parties to validate their position. Everyone agrees with me that you're being unreasonable, or I've talked to several people and they all think. This appeal to unnamed others is designed to make you doubt yourself. The triangulator often presents themselves as a mediator while actually creating or escalating conflicts. They might say they're just trying to help, or keeping the peace, while actively stirring up drama. The Stoic response is to seek direct communication whenever possible. Pay attention to how information reaches you. Are you constantly hearing about someone's opinions or feelings through intermediaries? Does the manipulator seem to know everything about others' perspectives while encouraging indirect communication? These are red flags. Practice identifying when third-party involvement is legitimate versus manipulative. Sometimes, intermediaries are necessary, but consistent triangulation serves to avoid accountability and maintain control over narratives. The Stoic defense begins with insisting on direct communication when appropriate. I appreciate you letting me know, but I'll need to discuss this with them directly. This removes the manipulator's power to control and distort messages. Remember that triangulation often creates artificial allies and enemies. The manipulator may try to make you feel supported against someone else, only to switch roles later. Maintain your independence from these manufactured conflicts. Your best protection is to verify information firsthand whenever possible. Don't accept second-hand accounts of others' feelings or opinions when direct communication is an option. As Epictetus taught, seek truth rather than comfortable assumptions. The ultimate Stoic response to triangulation is to maintain clear, direct communication channels while refusing to participate in manufactured drama. Stay focused on truth and authentic interaction rather than getting caught in triangulated manipulation. Number 8. Forced teaming. Forced teaming is manipulation through artificial solidarity, creating a premature we to bypass normal boundaries and create false obligations. It's when someone insists you're in this together before any real partnership has been established. The Stoics understood the importance of genuine relationships built on mutual respect and shared values. When someone tries to force a connection or collaboration, they're attempting to skip the natural development of trust. As Epictetus noted, first, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Watch for language that assumes partnership without agreement. We need to figure this out when there is no established we or our situation, when referring to their personal challenge. This premature pluralization is designed to create artificial responsibility. The manipulation works by exploiting our natural inclination toward cooperation and social connection. They're betting that once they establish a false we, you'll feel obligated to help with our problem. But Stoicism teaches us to maintain appropriate boundaries. Notice how they use crisis or urgency to reinforce the forced partnership. We don't have time to waste, or we need to act now. This manufactured urgency is designed to prevent you from questioning assumed alliance. The forced teaming often comes with implied obligations. Once they establish the we, they can say things like, "We promised to," or "We agreed that," even when no such agreement exists. The Stoic response is to maintain clarity about actual commitments. Pay attention to how quickly they move from individual to collective language. Do they shift from I to we without your input or agreement? Do they assume shared responsibility for their personal challenges? These are signs of forced teaming. Practice recognizing the difference between genuine collaboration and manufactured partnership. Real teams develop through mutual agreement and shared purpose, not through one person's declaration of unity. Your Stoic defense begins with maintaining clear boundaries while remaining open to genuine connection. You can be helpful without accepting artificial responsibility. As Marcus Aurelius taught, be kind while remaining true to your principles. Remember that forced teaming often precedes requests for help or resources. They establish the we so they can then say, "We help each other," right? Be aware of this pattern and maintain your autonomy in choosing when and how to assist others. The manipulation relies on making you feel guilty for maintaining normal boundaries. They might say, "I thought we were in this together," or "That's not how mates treat each other," when you assert healthy limits. But as Seneca reminded us, true relationships respect individual autonomy. The ultimate Stoic response to forced teaming is to remain kind while being clear about actual relationships and commitments. You can say, "I understand you're facing a challenge, and I'm happy to consider how I might help, but let's be clear about our actual relationship and respective responsibilities." Now that you've seen these manipulation tactics exposed in the harsh light of day, you might be feeling overwhelmed. That's normal. But here's the truth. Awareness is your first and most powerful defense. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Once you see the cage, you can begin to break free. Remember, recognizing these tactics doesn't mean becoming paranoid or distrustful. Instead, it means developing wisdom. The kind of wisdom that lets you maintain genuine connections while protecting yourself from manipulation. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Don't let this knowledge sit idle. Start applying these Stoic principles today. Notice the manipulation attempts around you. Practice your responses. Build your psychological immunity. And if this video helped you see things differently, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Together, we can create a community of people who are harder to manipulate and easier to connect with authentically. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join our growing community of Stoic warriors. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences with these manipulation tactics. Let's learn from each other.